The first time the laundry light switched on by itself, Mum told me it was faulty wiring. The second time, she locked the back door and pushed the kitchen table against it. By the third night, she would not even look towards the yard. That was when I realized the rule about the old laundry had never been made for children. It had been made for whatever waited inside. I was 12 in the summer of 1997, living with Mum and my 8-year-old sister Ellie in a weatherboard house on the edge of a small town outside Ballarat. The place was nothing special. It had faded cream paint, a corrugated iron roof that clicked as it cooled after sunset, and a narrow backyard covered in dry yellow grass. A Hills Hoist stood near the middle of the yard, beside a lemon tree that never seemed to grow any fruit. At the very end of the property stood the laundry. It was separate from the house, built from weathered timber with a rusting tin roof. A single square window faced our kitchen. Mum hated that building. She used the washing machine inside during the day, but she never entered after sunset. If our clothes were still hanging on the line when darkness fell, she left them there until morning. She said it was because of snakes. That explanation made sense to me then. Most evenings were ordinary. Ellie and I watched old cartoons recorded on VHS while the ceiling fan pushed warm air around the lounge room. Someone farther down the street always had a television turned up too loudly. Cicadas screamed from the gum trees, dogs barked behind corrugated fences, and the streetlights buzzed awake one after another. But the laundry always seemed darker than the rest of the yard. Even when moonlight touched the fence and the Hills Hoist, the little building remained flat and black, as though the darkness surrounding it had weight. There was one rule in our house. If the laundry light came on after midnight, we were not to look through the kitchen window. Mum never properly explained it. She mentioned it one evening while washing the dinner plates. "Sometimes old switches spark," she told us. "If you see the light, come and wake me. Don't stand there staring." Ellie giggled. "Does a ghost live in the washing machine?" Mum dropped the plate she was holding. It struck the edge of the sink and cracked cleanly in half. After that, neither of us joked about the laundry again. The first light came on 3 weeks later. I was awake because the heat had turned my bedroom into an oven. My sheets clung to my legs, and I could hear Ellie talking quietly in her sleep across the hallway. Then, a faint electrical click came from outside. A pale yellow glow spread across the backyard. I sat upright. From my bedroom doorway, I could see part of the kitchen. The light beyond its window flickered once before becoming steady. It was coming from the laundry. Every sensible part of me knew I should wake Mom. Instead, I walked into the kitchen. The old lino felt cool beneath my bare feet. The refrigerator hummed beside me. Beyond the window, moths circled the laundry light, striking the glass repeatedly. Nothing appeared to be moving inside. Then, the washing machine lid lifted, slowly. It rose a few centimeters and stopped. I stood at the kitchen window, holding my breath and waiting for something to climb out. The lid slammed shut. The laundry light went dark. I ran into Mum's bedroom and told her what I had seen. She listened without interrupting, then walked directly into the kitchen. She did not turn on any lights. She stood beside the window, but kept her face turned away from the yard. "Did you look directly inside?" she asked. I told her I had. Her fingers tightened around my wrist. "What did you see?" "Nothing." Mum stared at me for several seconds. Then she whispered, "Good." The following morning, she called an electrician named Mr. Harper. He was a broad man with sunburnt arms, a graying mustache, and a cigarette tucked behind one ear. He inspected the switch, the socket, and the old fuse box inside the laundry. Eventually, he called Mum over. "There's no power running to this light," he said. Mum went completely still. Mr. Harper laughed, apparently thinking she had misunderstood him. "The cable was cut years ago. Look here, it's completely dead." I looked at the bulb hanging above his head. Its glass was cloudy with dust and filled with dead insects. That afternoon, Mum removed the bulb herself and dropped it into the kitchen bin. At 11:58 that night, the laundry light came on again. There was no bulb in the socket. This time, Mum saw it too. She locked the back door, closed the curtains, and dragged the kitchen table against the frame. Ellie began crying because nobody would explain what was happening. The yellow glow remained for 7 minutes. During those 7 minutes, something knocked from inside the laundry. 3 slow knocks. A pause. Then 2 more. Mum covered Ellie's ears. I noticed that she was counting quietly under her breath. The next morning, she packed a suitcase. She told us we were going to stay with our grandmother in Geelong. We were supposed to leave shortly after lunch, but Mum's old station wagon refused to start. Mr. Harper returned with jumper leads and spent nearly an hour beneath the bonnet. By the time the engine finally turned over, a storm had rolled across the paddocks.
Rain hammered against the roof, wind bent the gum trees over the road, and the afternoon sky became almost black. Mum decided we would leave at first light. That night, she made all 3 of us sleep in her bedroom. She wedged a wooden chair beneath the door handle and placed a torch on the bedside table. At 12:14, the laundry light came on. We could see its pale glow around the edges of the bedroom curtains. Then, we heard the back door open. It did not break. It simply opened. The kitchen table scraped slowly across the lino. Mum climbed out of bed with the torch in one hand and Dad's old cricket bat in the other. She ordered Ellie and me to stay behind her. Footsteps crossed the kitchen. Wet, dragging footsteps. 1, 2, 3. They entered the hallway. Then they stopped outside the bedroom. A voice spoke from the other side of the door. It sounded exactly like my father. He had died 2 years earlier in a truck accident outside Bendigo. "Claire," the voice said softly. Mum stopped breathing. "Claire, let me in." Ellie began to sob. The doorknob turned once, but the chair held it in place. Then the voice changed. It sounded like Ellie. "Mum, I'm outside." The real Ellie clung tightly to Mum's nightdress. A few seconds later, it used my voice. "Mum, open the door." Mum raised the cricket bat.
"No," she whispered. "You don't get another one." The footsteps moved away. A moment later, the laundry light went out. Nobody slept again that night. At sunrise, we entered the kitchen. The table had been pushed away from the back door, which was now standing open. Muddy footprints led from the laundry, across the kitchen, and into the hallway. They were not shaped like shoes. They resembled bare human feet, except that every print had 6 toes. Mum finals told us the truth. Before we moved into the house, it had belonged to her older sister, Janine. Janine had lived there with her 12-year-old son, Michael. One summer night in 1989, the laundry light came on after midnight. Michael looked through the kitchen window and saw someone standing inside the building. The person looked exactly like him. Janine heard Michael unlock the back door. By the time she reached the kitchen, her son was gone. The laundry was empty. Police searched the town, the surrounding paddocks, and the nearby creek. They found nothing except Michael's pajama top, folded neatly inside the washing machine. Janine never recovered. A year later, she disappeared as well. Mum inherited the property, but kept the laundry locked for years. She believed whatever had taken Michael could copy the faces and voices of anyone who looked directly at it. "That's why I asked what you saw," she told me. I remembered the washing machine lid rising. I remembered the darkness beneath it. Then another detail returned to me. Just before the lid slammed shut, I had seen a hand gripping its rim. A child's hand. It had 6 fingers. We left that morning. Mum abandoned most of our furniture and sold the property cheaply to a man from Melbourne. She warned him about the laundry. He smiled politely and told her he intended to tear the building down. For years, nothing else happened. We settled in Geelong. Ellie grew older and stopped speaking about that summer. Mum refused to keep a washing machine in any room without a window. As for me, I developed a habit of avoiding dark glass at night. I never liked seeing my reflection when I could not clearly see what stood behind it. 21 years later, Mum died. While sorting through her belongings, I found a cardboard box marked Ballarat House. Inside were newspaper clippings about Michael's disappearance, several old photographs, and the plate Mum had broken in our kitchen. She had carefully glued its 2 halves back together. At the bottom of the box was a Polaroid I had never seen. It showed our backyard in 1997. Mum, Ellie, and I were standing beneath the Hills Hoist on the morning we moved into the house. Behind us, the laundry window appeared completely black. At first, I assumed the photograph had been damaged. Then I held it beneath a lamp. A boy was standing inside the laundry. He looked exactly like me at 12 years old. Pressed against the window beside him was a small girl with Ellie's face. I turned the photograph over. On the back, in Mum's handwriting, were 6 words. I only got one of you out.